So recently there's been some massive news which could affect a ton of gacha games and also just video games in general. If you don't know or haven't been around on the internet recently, then there's been some big news involving the SAG-AFTRA voice actors. Now you've probably heard of SAG-AFTRA before because they actually got involved in the massive writers' strike, which happened, I think it was a couple of months ago. And yeah, that was a massive thing that went on and it halted a lot of film productions. I mean, there's no actors, signing up to do films or like turning up to do films. And overall, it caused a lot of unrest in the film industry. But they are back, and this time it is video game voice actors which are going on strike. So in this video, I'm going to be explaining everything you need to know about these strikes, what's going on, why are they doing it, who are SAG-AFTRA, and how is this going to affect some of our games, Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, Xenosaga Zero, Wuthering Waves. There is a ton of gacha games which could be affected by this. But before I get into this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy it, and also go over to GamerSupps and use my code KAZO where you can get yourself 10% off a ton of cups and tubs, and I definitely recommend you guys go check it out. But let's get back into the video. So this was a news thing posted by Stefan saying Hoyoverse news, SAG-AFTRA voice actors go on strike. This may include some voice actors working on Hoyoverse related projects, though it's unclear due to outsourcing and how this will affect Hoyoverse titles. Keep your eye open for updates. Now, obviously, this is a screenshot from the official SAG-AFTRA website, which we will go to, and pretty much you can search up any game to find out whether it's been struck or if it's a non-union game. Now obviously Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail has been listed here, and I also did a little bit of a search last night, and it seems like Wuthering Waves and Xenosaga Zero are also on this list too. Now if you don't know, SAG-AFTRA are a union that is based in America, so they pretty much help a lot of people in the creative industry, go on strike, get the changes that they need, etc, for a multitude of reasons. I mean, they could have any reason to kind of go on strike or be upset about something. And this time it is for wages and the use of AI. So this is the whole reason that they're doing the strike. This is AI protections remain the sticking point. So this is a long article. If you guys want to go read it yourself, they go and talk about everything to do with this. And they also have a whole like FAQ page if you don't really understand what some of this stuff means, because there is a lot of words that, are very confusing. Like I still don't understand everything fully, but I do know the most part. And what they're pretty much asking for here is a more secure wage and a better wage for video game voice actors, and also protections against using AI and, and companies using these video game voice actors' voice to train them. Now, obviously, we've seen it in the past with Hoyoverse. They've actually, been very interested in AI and using them in their games, which people were very angry about. I mean, the community did not have a very good response to that. And obviously, it would be terrible for the voice actors if Hoyoverse actually do decide to replace them with some kind of AI voice. Not only for the voice actor's sake, but honestly, I just don't think it would sound as good for us as well. And obviously, some voice actors, especially in Genshin, in Honkai, in Xenosaga Zero, in Wuthering Waves, are very worried about this happening because it could seem very likely, especially with Hoyoverse's interest in this kind of stuff. But pretty much what SAG-AFTRA are looking for is for these companies to sign an agreement saying that they won't do this kind of stuff, and that also they'll give them a more secure and better wage, which again, I think is totally valid. And obviously, these voice actors really do deserve all of this stuff. But at the moment, they just aren't seeing it from a lot of companies, and that's why they're only striking certain companies here, because some companies have signed up and actually agreed to this deal, which I'm pretty sure is known as the Interactive Media Agreement. And yeah, it outlines all of the stuff that I just said, and they say that any game looking to employ SAG-AFTRA talent to perform covered work must sign the new tiered budget independent interactive media agreement, the interim interactive media agreement, or the interim interactive localization agreement. These agreements offer critical AI protection for members, so they want them to be very protected against AI and the use of their voice being used for AI. And yeah, overall, I just think this is a very good thing that they're doing. And obviously, this is going to affect a lot of the games that we play. As we've seen here, we got Sayu, who is a big voice actor for Honkai Star Rail, Genshin Impact, and even Xenosaga Zero, saying video games are officially on strike tomorrow, which means we go hard. I'll talk about it tomorrow on stream. See you around 7 PM. So this is going to be his last stream, and I think he's not going to be playing the games, and obviously he won't be voice acting for any of the Hoyoverse games, which could be an issue long term if they're, deciding to bring out a new update, especially with some of his characters. And the same goes for literally every other voice actor in these games, because if they all go on strike, then what are Hoyoverse going to do? Now, as I said, they actually included a video game status search to search what video games are being struck and what video games are non-union, and you can literally just search up the game name. Now, I don't know how accurate this is, because it says, please note that because some games use similar code names, something like that, it might not be so accurate, because if I literally just search some random game name in there that I made up on the spot, it says that it's being struck, which is a little bit weird. But it definitely seems like Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, a lot of the Hoyoverse games are being struck because they are non-union. And this is backed up by Sam Slade, who actually voices Ambi, and she also voices Topaz from Honkai Star Rail, and she says Hoyo games are non-union, more info below. and she's left a ton of info about this. And again, if you want to go check out their account, they do have a ton of stuff on there about it. They are a voice actor themselves, so obviously they know a lot about this kind of stuff. But obviously non-union games are the ones that, you know, people aren't supposed to be voice acting on, meaning that all of the HoYoverse games that we know will not have any of the English voice actors that are part of SAG-AFTRA actually voicing for them, which, yeah, again, is a massive headache for HoYoverse, and also a massive headache for a lot of other games companies. Now, it's probably not so bad for other games, like the ones that don't release regular updates. I mean, you know, you got games like Elden Ring and stuff like that, which kind of release in releases, and once it's done, it's done. Whereas we got games like Genshin Impact, Zenless Zone Zero, etc., which may be affected by this more, you know, even just any gacha game ever may be affected by this more, because they're constantly releasing updates and new characters, meaning that they need new voice actors to voice, and same goes for the story and literally everything else to actually make content in the game, because they rely more on regular content rather than just bringing out a release and leaving it at that. But they also included a lot of rules in this whole article. As I said, you can read it all if you like. And they said actually with game content creators and streamers, you know, just like me, they said we can continue playing the game and that, you know, we can just talk about the situation. So they're not asking anyone to quit playing a game or anything like that. They were very adamant that you can keep playing your games, especially content creators. This is more for the video game voice actors. Now, whenever it comes to gacha games, what do I think will happen with these companies? Well, honestly, I think we might be seeing one of the first updates where we don't actually get an English dub. Now, obviously, they might find some kind of workaround behind this because, you know, these are massive companies with a ton of money. So maybe they find some other voice actors or something and try to kind of evade this entire thing. Or maybe they actually cooperate with SAG-AFTRA and actually sign some of these agreements, therefore getting their voice actors back, which honestly would be the best outcome. And I definitely think that they should do that. HoYoverse and Kuro Games should definitely sign a contract like that to protect them from AI voices, but especially with HoYoverse, I don't think that's really going to happen, seeing as they've been interested in using AI voices in the past, and obviously they aren't exactly a Western company either, so they probably won't even care about this going on. The only thing they'll care about is that they've got no English voice actors to do their stuff, and maybe they'll just go, okay, well, we'll just go without the English voice actors for now until the strike finishes, which again would be very, very bad, but I could see HoYoverse doing that 100%. But with games like Wuthering Waves as well, I just wanted to talk about this because this was something that came up in my mind and I didn't know how valid this was, and you can tell me if it's completely wrong in the comments. But Wuthering Waves actually hired a lot of British voice actors whenever it came to a lot of the main characters. And I'm pretty sure the whole like talent stuff behind it was also based in Britain, so all of them over there might not be affected by it because SAG-AFTRA is a US union, it's got nothing to do with the UK. Now obviously these voice actors could go on strike in kind of like unison with these American voice actors, but again, they're not obligated to in any ways because they're not a part of this union. So it'd be interesting to see what kind of happens with that. Will the voice actors, you know, keep making stuff for Wuthering Waves? And how well will Wuthering Waves do in the future if they have this advantage over other games like HoYoverse who don't have their English voice actors? And will they actually take advantage of this? Or they just sit back and just keep doing updates as usual? Now obviously as well, you know, I think the voice actors should join up in solidarity with these other voice actors. I think it would make the strike much more apparent. And obviously they're also voice actors who don't want their voice to be taken by AI as well. So it seems quite likely that these voice actors will also join up with them even though they're not a part of this union. And as I said, it will just be interesting to see what happens. But yeah, this is some massive news coming from just video games in general. It'll be really interesting to see how this affects a lot of the games, not only just gacha games, but also, you know, some massive titles that are coming up in the future, or even some other online games and live service games which have regular updates, because gacha games aren't the only ones that have regular updates. If you think about games like Overwatch and Apex Legends and stuff like that, they also bring out new characters all the time. And will this affect them, or will it not? I mean, there are a ton of games and companies out there, and some of them are part of unions, some of them aren't, so, you know, the ones part of unions should be okay. And again, if you want to go double check about if your game is part of that, they have a whole search system. Literally just go over to the SAG-AFTRA page. I will link it down in the description below. And yeah, hopefully this all gets resolved soon and that the companies do sign these agreements and that we get our voice actors back and we don't miss out on too much content. But obviously the most important part is making sure that the voice actors get the right pay and that they're protected from AI in the future. Let's just hope that the companies give up quicker than the writers companies that we saw in the previous strike. Yeah, that's about all I got for this video. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this. Do you think this will affect your game? What do you think about the strike overall? Because some people have a lot of opinions on this. I honestly think that they deserve to be on strike, but obviously there's some people out there who think that AI is fine and stuff like that. But again, I'm definitely against it. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.